Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. This is Pastor Rosemary coming in from ANSARA, Angels Ave. This is a Halloween or All Hallows Eve little special video just to touch on the fact that Halloween has become quite a bone of contention among Christians and everybody for that matter. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of discussion and a lot of different people think a lot of different things about whether or not one should celebrate or have anything to do with Halloween. And some people say they like to, maybe view it from afar, view it from a distance, but not participate. Kind of like watching a scary movie, I suppose. You don't really want to be in the movie, just want to watch it, kind of like that. But anyway, so we know that it's a little bit fun. Why is it fun? It's fun because it brings up our dark side. And we all have a dark side, believe it or not. But tonight is Halloween. And it's October 31st. And everybody thinks it ends tomorrow, but it doesn't. The Day of the Dead goes all the way until November 2nd. And there's a lot of cultures where that's celebrated quite a bit. And that has a whole there's a lot of mythology that goes with all of that. But just to get into the true, deep Christian meaning of Halloween and this whole season before Christmas when there's the birth of the sun. And of course we can talk about the sun in the sky and what it goes through, which obviously, and the seasons and all that, which is what this is all about. However, there's more to it than that. It's deeper than that. Christians are not just worshiping the sun, or the ancient Egyptians weren't just worshiping the sun, meaning the sun in the sky. Back when it all began in Egypt, they were worshiping, yes, the people who were working in the fields were told that they were worshiping the sun, that the priests were worshiping the sun. But the actual priests themselves were worshiping what's behind the sun, the energy that comes through the sun. The sun is a converter. It's the energy that comes through the sun, what's behind the sun. And the energies of also the star system of Canis Major, Sirius, the Sirius star system. So that's, the energy from that is a little more close to what's being worshipped, and then beyond that, there's a deeper, more sublime, what one might just call, again, from Kabbalah, Christian Kabbalah, the will to bestow. Now, because it's without any thought of self. So this is the night, and until November 2nd, when one wears different clothes. I'm wearing my black pants and my orange shirt. I got some black boots and I try to look a little bit like a pirate. But anyway, moving along with the point. This is the night when one must die to oneself, internally. One should not try to do anything harmful to oneself or anybody else. And don't eat too much candy. But this is a night to die to the ego. That's why people wear the scary masks and wear the scary, the skull imagery for the Day of the Dead, which is tomorrow, in some of the Latino cultures, yeah? So it's dying to oneself. It's dying to the ego. It doesn't mean you hurt yourself, or it doesn't mean you hurt other people. That's why people use masks and makeup to get that part of human nature out and deal with it. And, like in those movies like The Purge, where people are actually harming each other because they're very good all the time and you have to have one night to blow it off. Well, this is like that. It's like a night to blow it off, like Mardi Gras, like that, right? But the point is, every now and then you got to blow off some steam, or you really will hurt yourself or somebody else. So you have to do it in a fun way, and you have to be sociable about it, And this is not without precedent in the life and teachings of Jesus Christ from the gospel. Now, here we have Luke 9:24. And in Luke 9:24, for whoever will save his life shall lose it, for he that lose his life for my sake shall save it. Again, for whoever will save his life shall lose it, for he that shall lose his life for my sake shall save it, says Jesus Christ. So he's saying, if you're willing to die for me, give your life for me, then you'll be saved. But if you want to, if you're worried, if you're full of self-concern, which we all are, if you're full of self-concern, then you're going to lose your soul. So this is where the ego, the devil's nothing but the ego, which we need to let the ego expand and then correct it. Because if we completely try to destroy the ego, that's just, we're doing it for the wrong reasons. We're doing it for self-concern. We're doing it to say, I have no ego, I'm better than anybody else. I don't have a dark side, I don't have an ego. Oh, yes, you do. And if you don't express it, and if you don't deal with it, if you don't let it grow and correct it, and know that you're always dealing with your ego at all times, that you have a dark side. And if you negate your lower chakras, they are going to come up and they're going to bite you and everybody else. You have to deal with it. This is the time to deal with it. So deal with it together in groups, like Halloween parties and Day of the Dead parties for the next 2 days. Deal with it in groups with costume and ritual and song and laughter and dancing and proper food and merriment. Now, and this is, again, for whoever shall save his life shall lose it. For he that shall lose his life for my sake shall save it. Now, to go on further to drive this point home, because right here people could say, well, it's not talking about that, and you're wrong, and that's fine. Feel free to comment, whatever. There's more to it than that. Remember that Christ descended into hell, and he's the master of hell. And there are levels of hell. There are 7 levels of hell, which Gehenna is the lowest. And that's complete apathy. And that's when people harm themselves. Now, you don't want to harm others or yourself. What you want to do is understand what's going on. You're being taken to a place within your soul that is the darkest will to receive. The darkest, what about me? I want, I want, I want. We all have this in us. We all want something. We all want a lot. What we need to do is contribute. Again, if you say, well, there's no group in my area that I can contribute to or contribute with, you know, then start a group. If you don't have a social group or a spiritual group, then start one. Give. Be that light shining in the darkness. That's the Christ part of you who can remain someone who contributes to everyone and can continue to establish relationships and deal with your relationships even when you're at your darkest. You're going to make mistakes. We're human, we make mistakes. And our self-love is being grown to the point where we just, all we care about is what other people think. Because of, you know, modern technology, we all have these abilities to communicate with each other in ways we never had before. And to some people, who are brought up with this kind of technology, it seems like nothing, but it's quite a bit of self-improvement and self-love that's been given to us. Now, when that starts to not give enough, then you have to give. That's why the orange and black for Halloween. The orange and black, and it has meanings with the planet Saturn, and the rings around the head of Christ and the saints. There's a lot of meanings. There's also, like the bumblebee, there's meanings with the color yellow and black, which is that the bumblebee can go below and above, black and yellow, under the earth and the sun, can traverse the dimensions. That's what these colors kind of mean. The black, you're pulling down into your lower chakras, the creative centers. The orange is the color of your belly chakra. And you're pulling that energy down into, you're receiving. So again, it's a time to be social is what we're trying to say. If you lose your social outlets at this time, your human social connections, then you're probably not going to feel so good. So again, this evening and tomorrow and the next day, through this weekend, go out and celebrate it in some manner. Even if your church will probably have some kind of gathering. Now, to drive this point home further, again, when Christ, okay, this happens to be a holiday that's falling on a Friday. Now, Christ was crucified on a Friday, and they had to take his body off the cross, before it could, before it would become something that would be cursed or accursed. So it had to be taken down and put in a tomb. Now, the tomb is a womb. It's a womb to your next life, your spiritual life. Again, you're building your spiritual body. It's like it's sort of like when the sperm goes into the egg and gets destroyed. Kind of like that. But there's a part of information that's kept. And you go, your spirit goes in and your soul goes in there, and if you're able to not become completely lost, but able to understand why. Understand with your whole being, not just your head, but your whole being. Understand why one has to go into darkness and be reborn into the next world. Then you're able to retain memory. DNA is nothing but memory. But you're able to have a spiritual memory, which has to do with your astrology. And then that, if you remember, you have a sort of an immortality. If you don't remember, you have an immortality physically because you keep reincarnating, but you won't remember. So this is where memory, which is found in the Sephirah of Chesed, where Jupiter resides, and Jupiter rules over Pisces and Sagittarius. That's where memory resides. And if you can have memory, then you can, in your next incarnation, be more conscious, a more conscious being. Now, not everybody reincarnates. If you grow all of your spiritual organs and your spiritual body in your spiritual life, then you don't have to come back here and you go to another realm, you go to heaven. But you do have to go into hell to be able to be born into heaven. It's a birth canal we're in right now. This time of this season, this particular celebration of Halloween or All Saints' Day. So, on Saturday, on Holy Saturday, Christ is in limbo, which is the first ring of hell in Dante's Inferno, right? And it's also known as Abraham's bosom. And in Ephesians 4:9, Jesus Christ, the Lord, descended into hell where he is the master. So Jesus Christ is the master of hell. This was after he became sin for us on the cross. He became sin itself. He became complete sin. He was sacrificed. Like all the sins of the whole world, or the whole universe, were put on him. He absorbed all the sin, and he was crucified. And then he had this experience, complete separation from God. He had to become the will to receive instead of the will to bestow. Completely. And the complete darkness is to receive for the self, rather than for the sake of the giver. He had to become that. And when you are there, you are the master of hell. This is where Satan takes over the being. This is where Satan and Christ become one. Now, right here is where it says he goes into the lower parts of the earth. Because again, hell has 7 levels. He had to go to limbo and go through all the 7 levels of hell, which are the desires, which at the lowest level you have no desire and you're apathetic. And that's when some people, kill themselves. And this is why you don't want to do that. You want to maintain your understanding. And again, you don't want to harm yourself and you don't want to harm other people. Understanding and gathering together and understanding and using costumes and fun. Have some fun. Blow off some steam in a healthy, positive, productive way with a group of people in a way that's kind of proper for your society or proper for your religion, whatever you're doing. Now, St. Peter had said that in Acts 2:24 that God hath raised up Christ, having loosed the sorrows of hell. Loosed the sorrows of hell. This is important. As it was impossible that he should be holden by it. So what we're being told here is that Jesus Christ loosened or freed the Old Testament saints from hell. He's master in hell. He's master everywhere. He's master in heaven. He's master of the universe. He's master of you. He's master of me. He's master of everything. He is the master of hell. He is the master of heaven. He is the master of earth. Did you think someone else was running this? You just have to understand. So he loosened the Old Testament saints. He freed them from their prison of death and hell. In 1 Peter 3:19, Christ coming in spirit preached to those spirits that were in prison, which had sometime been incredulous. Now, Christ's body was laid in the sepulchre. When he went to preach to those spirits who were in bondage. So that's what they're talking about. Of course, this has some meaning for normal things where pastors go and talk to people in prisons and things like that, or people in prison enslaved to sin and this kind of thing. But what does that mean spiritually? I mean, we all, just have to manage our sins and manage our, gluttony. Every time you eat, you have to manage your gluttony. Every time you have an argument with somebody, you have to manage your wrath. Every time you get attracted to somebody, you have romance, you have to manage your lust. Every time you go into a new financial endeavor, you have to manage your greed. We all have these things. We have to manage these things, and we have to manage them through working with our particular religion or whatever you're doing. But, we have to manage it with Scripture and manage it with fellowship and manage it with the dictates of the church that you belong to. Okay, we have to manage those things, obviously. However, there's something deeper that goes on. We have to manage these feelings of complete emptiness. Because when you're empty, you're immortal. Because time is no longer in you. Because time is what am I going to do tomorrow, and what did I do yesterday, and did I do this, and did I do... It's worry for tomorrow and regret for yesterday. Or hope for tomorrow. Bad kind of hope. You know, I don't mean good kind of hope. I mean the kind of hope where, oh, you know, I want all these things, you know, kind of over, too much with the expectation. Doesn't mean you don't plan, but too much, I better get this or else. It's more of an expectation than I hope, I suppose. So like an expectation for tomorrow and a holding on to the past on the positive side. I'm going to hold on to the past. But what about right now, where you just have what you have? Right here, right now, exactly where you are. With no thought of anything but right in this moment. Now, Christ is here right in this moment, and he lifts you up right here in this moment. And that is timelessness. And when you remove time, you become immortal. That's something that happens to your soul, but Jesus is the master of our bodies as well, is he not? Now, in Hosea, in Hosea 13:14, O death, I will be thy death. O hell, I will be thy bite. So, again, this is when you're bit by death, by the snake of death. This is where you're bit. Now, as you know, any kind of poison can be it can kill you or it can heal you. Because all medicines, for example, too much is not therapeutic. Too much will hurt you or kill you. Or there's therapeutic doses to things. So there's therapeutic doses to everything. But there's also, to any poison, there is, you know, going to be something that you can take that's going to heal you or save you, a cure, an antidote, if you will. So once you've been bit by the snake of death, Christ comes in and injects you with light, with the will to bestow. Because right when you figure that I'm gonna just do what I need to do for me, for number one. Now that's what you're going to do anyway for this physical world. But for your soul, just understand that that's why you need Jesus Christ to inject you with the antidote to death. Otherwise, that's the second death. If you don't let him inject you right here and right now with his antidote of the will to bestow and establish a relationship with him, because why is a relationship with Jesus Christ so important? Because a relationship is the only thing that gives you life. There's no life without relationship of one thing to another. So see the difference between you and he. That creates a screen. The screen is the soul. The difference between you and he. See it. Understand it. Like your eardrum. When air bounces against it, you can hear. There's a difference in pressure, and that creates a sound. This is how to make your sixth sense, your spiritual sense. So, feel it. Feel the difference between his ability to give and love and your ability to simply want to say, okay, I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to do what I have to do. Because we all, and do not deny in these moments, that we all have the will to receive for the self. Then we say, no, I care about my family, no, I care about, of course. That's because it's a relationship. So the minute you care about your family, the minute you care about your husband or wife, the minute you care about your brother or sister, the minute you care about your friend, the minute you care about your child, the minute you care about the people in your church, the minute you care about somebody else and consider their feelings your first relationship with Jesus Christ gives you the ability to do that. Without him, you cannot do that. Then you go ahead and have your relationship with other people through him. These relationships develop your soul further. But again, these relationships are impossible without him. So this season is a season that we must deal with, that we must celebrate. You cannot just say, okay, I only want the positive side, not the negative side. It's ridiculous. All night and no day, you'll freeze to death. All day and no night, you will burn to death. So, don't be silly. You need light, you need dark. Okay. This is your Halloween message and All Hallows Eve and All Saints Day transmission from Jesus Christ. This is Pastor Rosemary. Thank you for joining us. And join us again next week. I can't get